and all the goodies.
Right? Might need some adapters for it.
Yeah. Yay!
We got sound, we got video going out. Probably are live, I don't know. We might be. I don't make any promises. Repost. And we're gonna share that. And I'm gonna go over to Twitch and find out whether or not we're live. I gotta watch an ad. Hey Steve, how's it going? Good to know that we're live. Thank you very much.
Yay!
I gotta finish my ad break before I can confirm this though. I don't even know what I'm watching an ad for.
I just had to update Discord. Discord was...
Boom.
Yeah, I had one of those pesky updates.
You wasn't it with that? Yeah, I was too. I don't remember what it was. There it is. Okay, yeah, we are up. We're doing the thing. Yeah, we're talking about something that we're going to be talking about towards the end of the show today. A nice x86 affordable. It's basically the thing I told you that Raspberry Pi needs to watch out for because here they come.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong button. There we go. All right. Hey, it's Wednesday, everybody. So I want you to go grab some popcorn and get ready because we're going to be talking about the adventures of i386 on Ubuntu, Linux kernel 6.5, Linux on a Commodore 64, kind of technically if you squint, and a Zima board, not the drink. If you're of a certain age, you remember Zima and all the promotional advertisement that went behind it. Man, they spent a lot of money trying to get people to drink Zima and it just didn't stick. It was the original alcoholic Sprite. But now we have a lot more of that, sparkling, what is it, like White Claw? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Mike's Hard Lemonades and things like that, Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah.
So the concept of like sugary sweet, ugh.
Yeah, I never cared for Zima either. But I like Mike's Hard because it's lemonade and vodka. That's what we used to call bug juice.
Mike's Hard Lemonade and Vodka?
Mike's Hard Lemonade?
Mike's
Forgetting
Hard
the name of it.
Yeah, Mike's Hard Lemonade is malt liqueur.
Oh, okay. So it's not the vodka. Okay.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't think they're allowed to sell mixed drinks with hard liquor in them. Oh, man, Hooper's Hooch back in the day. There was Hunch Punch. Seltzer? What about seltzer, Ellen? You have questions about seltzer?
I drink lots of seltzer waters.
Are you like, seltzer, is it a thing? Does it exist? That's an open-ended question. There's a lot to be picked apart from that one word with a question mark.
Hi, Steve Husband. Hi, Gamatron. Hey, Alan. Hey, Arthurian. Yay.
And if you are wondering, as Jill discovered, there was a Discord update today.
Yeah. I was just launching it before the show started and realized, oh, I got to install it.
I noticed it because when I start the show, got a monitor over here, and this one does double purpose. It works as the third screen on Threadbooper until we're doing a show. Then when I got Jackbox on, it flips over and becomes the primary display for Jackbox.
Yeah.
This is where Discord opens. So when I launch the script to start everything and Discord doesn't show up, I go,
yeah,
we got an update. So I have to like go up top and select move and drag it over here and put it down. It's one of those things. Just get used to it. All right, I got drinks. I'm about ready to get started and hop into it.
I will go take a break real quick and get a little bit more water and be ready.
All right.
Yay.
Do we need, I don't know, should I put out like, I need to log into that Facebook account at some point. Facebook just doesn't care, man. Facebook does not care if you tell it, like, hey, you know what, Facebook? Don't send me any more notifications. Facebook, like, what about these notifications? There's always like an additional notification from Facebook. It's maddening. But people don't seem to have a problem with it. I think everybody like begrudgingly has a Facebook account. I have one for the show. I don't have a personal one. I couldn't imagine that it's any better if you have like a personal Facebook account. Oh, that's interesting. So MSI is not going to be making any of the new AMD cards. We talked about that on Saturday. AMD coming back with their mid-range cards, and they're like, yeah, these aren't going to be cheap either, man. Price performance. You know what? Just give us some of that cheddar. But I guess that's really all AMD has to do right now, right? Be slightly less expensive than NVIDIA. Is that the name of the game? Is that how you pull it off now? That's all they're concerned about? And they're like, yeah, we'll be a couple of bucks less than NVIDIA and people will buy it. Yeah. While you have NVIDIA, you know. It's pretty much NVIDIA. So anyway, that's how I imagine our target audience. But NVIDIA doesn't care about home consumers. They haven't for a long time. To the surprise of nobody. It's not like the AMD, because AMD's already announced that they're not going to be doing high-end on the new Navi stuff. I don't think they've announced it. It's been leaked, but... No. You say that as AMD's running around touting FSR3. It's like, who's got the better gimmicks? I'm not concerned about the gimmicks. I don't care about your ray tracing. I don't care about your FSR. I don't care about your DLSS. I don't care about like whatever the new thing is to upscale your smeary vision. Like just raw rasterization performance. That's what I was talking about on Saturday. It's like performance doesn't really matter as much these days. I followed that with a very clear word after that. On Saturday. It's like, that's all that matters. Like, we're never going to switch. You're never going to get me to switch the narrative from performance like that. Imagine applying this to CPUs instead of GPUs, right? Like, well, you know, the performance doesn't really, it does all these other neat tricks that, does it make it faster? Not really, but like, just get out of here. Get out of here. And the technology's there, man. They just want to milk it. They want to milk it. They want to sit on substandard hardware, charge more for substandard hardware with gimmicks on it. No. Is DLSS neat? Yes. Is it cool? It's awesome. It's a bonus feature, though. Same as FSR should be. It's a bonus feature. It's not the reason you buy the card. Oh man, there's a bunch of AMD CPUs back in the Bulldozer day that you could absolutely make a grilled cheese sandwich with. That's just like one of those things, man. Doesn't really upset me. I'm just disappointed. Like this is where we've come. Save us, Intel. There's something. Why? Let's go back 5 years. I want to go back and just a 5-year time skip, go back and be like, yo, you're going to be championing Intel 5 years from now with no context. I would have shot myself claiming he was an imposter. Like, there's no way. There's nah. You have nothing positive to say about Intel? Well, I don't necessarily have anything positive to say about Intel right now. They're another soulless corporation like AMD and NVIDIA, but we got to have somebody to scramble, somebody to break this duopoly that has formed with NVIDIA on the high end and AMD on the mid-range, and both of them completely neglecting the low end. Because you don't have to wind that clock back too many years when $200 would get you a GPU you could game on. Like, you could do your gaming on it, and you could play modern games on a $200 GPU. I'll say it's gone, unless you're buying used. Fortunately, we do have that Gamatron. Fortunately, we do have that. Again, I'll keep screaming it. Like, if you are buying like your first GPU right now, and you're even remotely, not even if your budget is like super tight, but if you're thinking like, what should I get? I just want to play some games. Get a used 3060 Ti all day long. Done. You get one of those like $250. I don't know, Alan. Matrox. Yeah, probably Matrox. No, it's Intel. It's Battlemage. And Intel has no desire to shake up the graphics duopoly because they're good, because they're nice. No, they want some of that market share. You know, Intel's already shown the best thing that no one ever talks about with the Arc A770. And I understand why everybody just like glossed over this, and I can definitely see a lot of reviewers, Intel and AMD contacting people and going, hey, don't bring this up, because no one's brought this up. One thing Intel showed with the Arc A770, the 256-bit bus, 16 gigajoules of memory RAM, for $300. Intel showed what you could make one for without your 40 to 60%. On top of that, Intel's like, we can make this and still make money. Not much, but we're not going to take a loss at this. And that's what you can make. And that's not out of the range. And nobody talks about that. Nobody brings that up. Like that's a really bad look for AMD and NVIDIA. But yeah, we need to bring back. See, I was only half joking when I said Matrox because they're using Intel now instead of AMD. Matrox was using AMD for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let me grab a drink, Joe, and
okay.
We're going to get underway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hi, Ralph. How are you doing? Yeah. Aw, I like your holiday cookie, Ralph. Oh yeah, so today I got my Linbit mug. I like Linbit. It's a nice, a great cloud-based company. And the reason I chose this today was because I like it because it's big and it's like my one from last week. It holds a lot of water, so I brought it out. I need to get more new, bigger mugs like this. Definitely. Yeah, so are any of you out there going to get the new AMD GPUs that were just announced? It would be fun to test AV1, but I've already spent so much money on the last series of cards. I think it might be a while. I don't know. I might pick up an RX 7600 because it's only like $200 and something. Yeah, the 5700 XT was a great card. I understand, can again. Ooh, nice art there. Yeah. So right now I got my RX 69 1050 XT, which I absolutely love, and I just spent a lot of money on it not too long ago, so that's why I maybe only buy one of the 7th gen. Yeah, the 7600 maybe, just to test out AV1. That would be really cool, because I do use OBS on the other podcasts I do, and I do recording and whatnot. Yeah, nice, Arthur. Yeah, you want to go all AMD.
Well, I mean, here's what it boils down to. Like, there's two classifications for upgrades: wants and needs.
Yeah.
That's with most things in life. Like, I mean, everybody wants to upgrade.
Yeah, I know.
And
yeah.
then you got to get down to the, like, here I am trying to adult. Like, do I need it? Then you got to start justifying your needs, and you got to start putting them in categories. Like, well, I'll take advantage of this. And as much as we all hate to admit it, most of us have more GPU than we need.
Yeah, that's true.
Shut up, 3060. My 3060's cursing at me right now.
Oh boy, that's another podcast. Yes, Steve has been that I can do.
By a long way, Gamatron. Yeah. I think we'll sit back and look at people like, I know a couple of people with 4090s, and I'm like, two of them legitimately are into the AI, large language model type. That's what they got them to play around with. They don't play games with them, and that almost irritates me. They don't do any type of media production with them. But I do know one person that all they do, do you know what they do with their Fortnite? They play Fortnite.
Yeah.
That's it. That is the only game installed on that system. It is a Fortnite box. That's just reality. But I mean, I don't begrudge anybody. I'm like, if you want to spend $1,200-$1,300 for a Fortnite card, like, do it. If you got the resources, like, go for it. If you want to buy the latest AMD card, do it. That's awesome. I'm not holding that against anybody. Like, there's no point in sitting there like, that's dumb. I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
Like, if that's what they want.
Most people are doing 1080p now anyways. They're starting to scooch over to 1440, but the reality is that,
1440 is it's been kind of like the sweet spot. That's where you see most of your benchmarks for the past couple of years.
Yeah. Because you can get the monitors now cheap too for 1440.
Everything's 14. Yeah. Let's have a look. Let's see what people are using these days, because I'm curious. Where do we go? Video card usage? Oh, it's probably going to be in. Where are we going to go? Description? No. Here we go. Ooh, look at that. 1280. 1280. 1024. 720p. See, we're over here living in this fantasy land. Most people are over here gaming at 800 by 1280. Let's see, where do we get to 1280? 1440 by 900. Does that count as 1440?
Should be a little higher.
And 1920 by 12, 1920 by 1080.
1440 by 2560.
So we got 60%, and we got 14%. What do we got? Where's Team 4K? 3%.
Yeah.
Some people got those. That's larger than I thought. The 3440 QHD. That's pretty big. Oh, remember this? No, 25. Was it 20? What was that weird sub 1080p resolution? There it is, 1680 by 1050.
Oh yeah.
If you were an early adopter of a like usable quote unquote widescreen LCDs. I have a couple of those 1680 by 1050 displays. That's wild, isn't it? How is this on the rise? That's bugging me. What has 1280 by 800?
Old Dell monitors?
I couldn't answer that question. I don't know. I genuinely don't. Like, that is a tablet on portrait? I don't know. Wait, this is Steam, so it's going to have to be x86.
Yeah, because I was thinking, okay, there's mobile, there's, handhelds, but this is Steam, so it's going to be an old Dell monitor, HP monitor.
Game of Thrones playing with a 1280 by 800 on the Steam Deck. Oh, all right.
But yeah, the last two monitors I bought have been 1440, and I got them for like $100.
Yeah, they're cheap these days. Hey.
Yeah. That was 1080i interlaced, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had one of the very first plasma TVs made by Samsung. It was awesome. It lasted 12 years.
I still got mine.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't use... I was using mine day in and day out. It was on all the time.
I don't. They use too much power.
Mm-hmm.
Even back then, I plugged in kilowatt to that. I'm like, you're not staying on very long. Plus, plasma always had legitimate issues with burn in too, so you got to be careful what you were watching. You didn't want to ever put it on something with like a Chiron lower third.
Oh yeah,
just like sitting there. It would eventually clear back up, but
yeah, we never had a problem with that because I would always I never kept it static.
So you watch a lot of TV.
It was mostly YouTube. Just have YouTube on running in the background often.
Full HD. I think like some of the more fascinating ones is like the 1080p CRTs that they made. Like those ginormous widescreen CRTs, Trinitrons.
Mm.
Those things are
So,
wild.
Arthur and your parents had a newer model of plasma because the original ones that came out were actually 1080i with component video. when they got the little HDMI connector, that's when they became 1080p. But that's cool.
Yeah, like you'd have to go digging around and searching for like a 1080i. But I mean, that was like the first generation of
yeah, but it
flat
could have
panels.
been. Yeah, Arthur, and it could have been. It was the third generation of Samsung monitors that came out with the HDMI. I followed it very closely. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's cool. But I'm glad it's still running, Arthur. The plasma TVs are still beautiful. Because honestly, that's what OLED is trying to be, a plasma TV. Of course, it surpassed it, but in resolution. But old plasmas still look great.
We can get a 50-inch plasma TV for about $40 these days.
Oh, yeah. But the shipping, that would be a different story. Oh, it was an older Panasonic one. Yeah, those were good plasma TVs too. The Panasonics. I know Steve's brother. Steve's brother still has one. He's still using because they don't use theirs that often, so it's lasted a long time. But the old TVs were made so well. That's the thing, is the first generation of those TVs, all metal, built like tanks, like the first CRTs. That's why Venza's still working and your parents' is probably still fine. Ours, the only reason it died is because it was on every day, all the time. It would have lasted. In fact, because we had the first gen model, of all the people we knew, ours was the only one that lasted as long. Yeah, enormous trunks. That's it, yeah. several £100 just for the. Oh, nice, Gamatron. Yeah, we did notice definitely the electricity bill went down when we got we had replaced it with a temporary an LG TV, but it was lame. And I'm like, nope, I want to go back to a Samsung panel. So now we have the Samsung the art display panel.
It's like one of the cool things,
the high end one.
with
Love it.
when it comes to LCDs and OLEDs. There's effectively two companies that make all the mother glass for them. Mm-hmm. So, like, you can usually get a good deal with like a very good panel. You've known this if you paid attention, like shopping for monitors for a long time, because the mother glass, everything, like you have that one panel, and they have to figure out how many sizes and resolutions they can cut off that one thing.
Yes.
So, like with Samsung and LG and Lucky Gold Star and all that, they still get those same panels. Like you'll get things like the LG panel. We have the same panel in our Acers that were in the LG monitor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they're like $300 cheaper. Same panel though.
Mm-hmm. Still going strong. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I haven't had a problem with it. I mean, it's got some dead pixels, but they're only there if I look at them and try to find them.
Oh, I haven't had that yet. Yours is a little, I think 6 months or older than mine or something like that. A year older.
Well, it's refurbished. I guarantee you it's got dead pixels on it. It's a 4K display.
Yeah. But I haven't found them yet. But that doesn't mean anything because I don't see well.
You don't
I have to get up real close.
I mean, here's what you do. Put it up a white thing and get a permanent black Sharpie and get somebody in there, and we'll just draw a big circle. So if you ever like, I wonder where they're at, you can look at them.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they're not like grouped. And again, I'm like trying to find them right now, and I can't even see them from this distance. And I'm like, well, I'm more than an arm length away from the monitor, but like an arm length, like maybe that much. So it's one of those things, and you only see it with a white background. But you expect, man, it's interesting to see people get like ragey upset when they buy a new monitor and find out that there's an acceptable amount of dead pixels.
Yeah, absolutely.
That now that moves around though, because like if you got like one over here, you're not going to get it. But if you have like a grouping in the middle, like say you got like 3 or 4 in the middle, you can get a refund. Like you can get that arm.
Oh yeah, if it's right in the center. Yeah. I had one monitor that had that I had to return. Only one time.
I've never had a problem.
Many monitors I've bought. And
the only one I have, now this is a TN panel, this Acer monitor that myself, Jordan, and Empty all bought because they want to buy ourselves for we don't have a like reason as to why to this day. But these were like Acer's top of the line Pro monitors that they made. And there's not a dead pixel on this thing I've ever seen to this day. But then again, it was a $900 monitor like 6 or 7 years ago. We got it for like $350.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just that they scream sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
Not making that up if you're new to the show and hadn't been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard that.
Like that's the catch of these monitors. They scream at you sometimes and scare you and give you a panic attack. They haven't done that for a long time. So there is that. Let me get my overhead LEDs on and we'll go ahead and...
oh yeah.
We'll go with blue because they're set to blue right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend $900 ever on a monitor. If I did, I wouldn't like it. I'd be angry at it. I'd walk in and look at it like, ugh. But I'm probably never going to go back to like a smaller primary monitor than like 40 inches. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know how I would. I don't know how I'd scrounge by on a wee 30-inch monitor.
I know. It's just too small for me. Yeah.
The downside is like with this shot that you're seeing right now, there is camera trickery involved because my head is only sticking up maybe about that much on top of the monitor. Like if you had a straight shot and you were looking at me dead on, you just see like maybe that much of my head. I'm sitting behind this monitor, so that camera's on the other side of the room, way up towards the ceiling, coming down, zoomed in. That took a long time. So there is downsides to having, plus you have like a big industrial stand. You know, you can't
True.
You're not going to put it on like one of these little VZO things that fold in half. Or you can't put it on because I have gas arms. You know, the gas spring arms for the other monitors in here. Get those. If you don't have those and you get multi-monitor set up and you can put a gas arm on, life-changing. You get all that stand space. You don't realize how much that takes away. And all your cables are just going to go, beautiful. And they're like $30-$40. You can't put a big ginormous monitor on those, but yeah, I'll definitely my next monitor is going to be at least 40 inches. I think 40 is about 45 inches. This is as big as I'd ever want to go, though. That's about as big as I'd ever want to go, because they make them much bigger now. They make 50-inch monitor. Did you see that one Joe got?
Yeah, his was an ultra wide, the 45-inch Ultra Gear, but it's
the Aurorus Gaming Extreme YOLO Edition 9000 curve.
But those are less real estate because they're narrower.
They're narrower, but they're much longer.
Yeah.
They're much longer.
It's like my one behind me is a 45-inch.
I kind of want to like see how that thing is, because that is like one of the best OLED gaming monitors. It's like a $1,200-$1,300 monitor. I'm like, geez.
Not bad.
Not bad. I think it's got like the best specs on the market.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's another one, the Samsung Arc, the 55-inch one. I've been wanting that one.
Is it an ultra wide?
No, but it's...
Okay, so we're talking about ultra wides.
Yeah, but it's curved.
So it's just widescreen curve, not ultra wide curve?
Yeah, not ultra wide. I've got several ultra wide monitors, which I love. They're great for gaming.
This is the difference between me and Joe. Mine's used for show notes. That's my ultra wide. You've seen shots of the studio. I'm sure I've posted them. That's the one that's next to the big monitor.
Yeah.
Let's get it in portrait mode. Google Docs. That's what we use it for. Cool. Yeah, we're ready to go. Everything's holding up fine. We're trying some new things tonight, this evening. Audio-wise, we're going to see if it holds together. Jill, remind me to get a little clap test from you right at the beginning when I hit record. Get our stretches out. Kids, I'm finally getting to the age where you wake up and you're like, I'm a little bit sore here. And as much as you think about it, you're like, I genuinely didn't do anything. Just sore here today. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do yesterday or the day before? I'm like, what
this
caused
part of getting older.
And being like in your shoulders and stuff like that, which is always unique. Man, all right. But it's going to happen to all of us. Don't worry about it. Just work it out like you do everything else in the morning. Keep on about your day.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why every morning I do a lot of stretches. Stay limber, and it helps kind of work out, the muscles being messed up at night.
Well, I do it because I go running every morning. Mm-hmm. And the idea of like getting up and having to go run somewhere sounds like a horror movie, not something that I'd willingly do.
Yeah, that's good. No, the good way to do it. I've been riding my bike almost every day. So that's been fun.
Cool. Let's go.
Okay.
Let me get down to my record button. How was our audio level here? Let me double check something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, yeah. All right. Here we go. playback, and volume adjustment. I might need to... I gotta balance one thing out additionally, but it's no big deal.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
Want me to clap?
Just a minute. I gotta hit that go button.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm also using Audacious instead of Also Player.
Oh, okay.
Which involved having to break out regex expressions.
Oh, yeah.
In order to get it to, oh boy. All right. Record, we're good. All right. And, boop, boop. 3-way. Give me a clap. All right.
Yay. And thank you for the reminder, Steve Husband.
Thank you, Steve. What are the... Okay, those are aux. All right. That's about where I wanted. About right there. Let's do it, people. Good, good. 3. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Jill, Brian, and everybody watching us live here on Twitch. Let's go ahead and get into it. But Jill, you have to celebrate a birthday this week.
Oh, absolutely. So we're celebrating Linux's birthday. Happy birthday, Linux. Linux turned 32 years old last Friday, August 25th. So that's just amazing. It makes me feel old too.
Yeah, it's 30. At 30, I was like, oh, 30
yeah.
like, oh, 32. Oh, wow. It's been around for a minute. Been there for the entire time. That's always an interesting thing to think about. You know, we've been using Linux since it was like, hey, here's this thing to try to get. It was a curiosity, you know, because for a while, I mean, that's all it was. They're like, oh, this is an alternate operating system. And it was a different time in the sense that there were alternate operating systems, you know, especially in the early mid-90s. That was still a thing. Even later on, you know, OS 2 was still around, and like it wasn't Windows, Mac, Linux like it is today. We just got these 3 options, and when you hear about somebody writing a hobby OS these days, you're like, oh, well, that's silly, but you never know. You never know.
Oh.
And this one turned out to be something that most of us run if you're listening to the show.
Yes.
So.
The free version of Unix, not big and GNU. Like Unix, like Linus said in his famous words.
And I'm going to save everybody that comment. I'm like, well, actually,
it was a big deal.
Linux is a clone of Minix, not Unix. Moral of the story, you know what I mean, man. Chill out.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I've been playing around with, I talked about it a little bit on Saturday. Saturday during Linux Gamecast Weekly was the initial test run. I still got a lot of tweaking to do. Is normally when we do these shows, you see these other boxes back here. There's 2 that I rely on for the live stream. One is an Aphex compiler. It does the leveling compression. It keeps everything nice and level on the live stream. And below that is a Orban 526A, which is a dynamic de-esser. And these are old pieces of broadcast equipment that I've repurposed in my rack to bring you the audio that we deliver. I hate using them. I've always hated using them. I have no love for outboard gear. I've made my position very clear when it comes to analog equipment that it is something for hobbyists to play around with. You want to get everything in the box. What in the box means that you're doing everything digitally, doing it all with plugins, because it's completely possible to do, and it has been for a long, long time now. One argument that you might have that I will give you a point for and say you're valid, trying to achieve a desired effect can often be quicker by plugging in an external piece of gear, because, you know, it does the thing. You turn the knobs, like, boom, it just, hey, there's the sound I want. And you don't need to understand the underlyings of psychoacoustics, harmonic distortion, and all that to like simulate it. But I've been working on that. I found a good open source leveler that is very gradual, because I could cut that off right now and we're still going to sound fine, but it's not going to be quite as punchy as I like it to be. I'll probably be doing a video on it a bit later because there's some bug fixes that need to take place before I'm going to go and say, hey, we're going to go try and use this. And I'm a little bit worried because I'm like, here's a crash. I put it on their bug tracker. And one of the developers wrote back and it says, how did you even get to that screen? I'm like, oh no.
Oh boy.
I'm like, here's how you get to the screen. You click that. I understand it was supposed to be hidden, but I know how to read C. So I knew it was there. It's working pretty good, but it's computationally heavy, which was something I was bringing up. You got to think, just the engine. This is why I'm so fascinated by analog computers, and that's what an Aphex compiler is. It's 100. There's no ICs in there. It's just doing everything with stored voltages to figure out where the level should be. To emulate that, it's like the memes, like, look what they need to do to generate a fraction of our power. One of those things. And Jackbox is squeezing a little bit. It's like, this is kind of rough, but it's doing it. We're not getting any X runs. But on top of that, you got to put back in harmonic distortion, which saturation is the word people like to throw around. They're like, I like that warmth.
Yeah.
That's distortion. That's what it is. That's what saturation is. It's distortion. Adding that back in is a challenge because if you do it right, you can't hear it. That's where a lot of people mess up. And stay away from saturation plugins. Those things are all trash. I don't care who makes them. You want to do that with sideband compression and probably some type of exciter algorithm. And that's what I'm working on right now. I want something that sounds perfectly equal or slightly better, because if you take that out of the recording, Jill, it's too clean. The brain doesn't like that. Like that's too clinical. That's too surgical. And that was a big complaint in the early days of digital audio.
Yeah. Too crisp.
It was like, it doesn't, I was like, it sounds too perfect, doesn't it? So that's been my journey for the past couple of days. Is finding out how hard it is to make audio sound bad.
Yeah, a little white noise in there doesn't hurt, right?
It's if it was that simple, it would be fixed. I think I've logged about 7 or 8 hours, but I like a good puzzle to solve, and this might make a good video. And then you're fighting other things, like the equivalent of like, what's it going to sound like when it's pressed to tape or pressed to vinyl back in the day. You still got to work out things like, what's it going to sound like once it's been pressed to MP3, because the sound completely changes.
Yeah.
And then it's all the monitoring and stuff like that. I like a good puzzle. Hopefully we'll get it solved. But main reason I'm doing this is once you have everything in the box, let's say, because we do multi-track, right? We're sitting here talking, and maybe motorcycle guy didn't realize it wasn't Saturday, and he comes pulling out of the neighborhood like he does on Saturday and ripping out in front of my house. Maybe he's like, I think it's Saturday, so he gets up in the middle of the show. But what I'm able to do is I got that track and I can cut that out, right? It's not a problem. So if I need to do that, but Jill's talking, say I'm not muted, and it goes over, Jill's talking like, and you can't hear what she's saying. Okay, so I need to go back and pull that out of my audio track while Jill's talking. Previously, when you have outboard gear, you got to do everything in real time. So I have to re-render everything back out at 1:1. And I got to cut all this back on, and it's not portable. I got to light everything up, cut all the equipment back up, get a recall sheet. When it's all digital, I can do it on any PC. I'm doing it on a laptop. I can do it on Jill's PC. I'm like, doop, 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 click, rendering it out at 16x real time. Makes it real easy to fix things. And I even was able to, I didn't want to, but I was able to do that on Saturday. I'm like, I need to fix the thing. Boom. Done. So real happy with that.
Yay.
Stay tuned.
Man.
Maybe some guides on it. Who knows? I still got to get that Kona thing out. Maybe by Friday I'll have that out for patrons. I've already written it. I just got to find the time to sit down and read the thing that I've written and stick everything together. So stay
written.
tuned. I've written it. You got to written it, and then you got to go through the process of you write a script, you read through it, even though you vocalize it. You don't find the problems with it until you're sitting down actually tracking it, and it's a long process. It's pretty boring. Maybe I should just throw away the script and go, "What's up, fam? Video card go burr." and roll some credits. Maybe put a Pikmin picture at the end. It'll be awesome. But let's go ahead and get into it for this week.
Yeah.
i386 in Ubuntu will not die. Why is that, Joe?
Oh boy, because we have to have those old drivers to play, well, our old games under Steam. Yeah, this has been an issue for a while, and Popey goes into detail about it. And well, you remember, Ven, back in June of 2019, Ubuntu attempted to take out the 32-bit drivers from the OS, which stopped lots of software and games from working correctly. And yeah.
2019 was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We were talking about it a lot on the gaming show because it kind of came as a shock, man. Dropping all 32-bit support, beginning with the upcoming Ubuntu 19.10 release at the time. So what would that get rid of? Oh boy, you're talking about all of your Wine applications, because Wine 64 still isn't even in that state. All of the Steam stuff. And, you know, in less than a month, it was a couple of weeks, Canonical, they reversed course on that. And they're like, okay, because everyone went, have you lost your mind? Including Valve, because Steam announced after they did that they would no longer support future Ubuntu releases. They made that announcement, like, we're out. We're not even going to mess with that. And that's one of the many reasons the Steam Deck's running Arch, not Ubuntu. Yeah. There's an alternate trajectory there where the Steam Deck is running Ubuntu. And I think this played no small part in it. But the reason we want to bring this up is somebody discovered that if you were trying to install Steam, or I have to imagine any other type of 32-bit application, on what version of Ubuntu? Because this has been out for a while, Jill. This is not a...
it was 2304. 23.04, yeah.
2304, especially if you tried to install Steam from the repo, it just wasn't going to happen. Wouldn't work, and that's because Canonical has that new Flutter-based installer. And somebody forgot to add 32-bit support to the image.
I know, it was a simple mistake, yeah.
No, that's not what the thread on Mastodon is like. This is a conspiracy. Even Popey took a stab at it, too. He did. He said, the thread on Mastodon brought up, an expected thought process. The conspiracy theory-minded might reasonably think this is Canonical breaking the deb so you're forced to use to snap. But it doesn't appear to be the case. No. This is one of those things where if somebody said, but they really did, I'd be like, possibly. But, don't ascribe malice as what can be described as just, oopsies.
Yeah.
This looks like an oopsie. But I wanted to give everyone a mention, because I know some people out there are still running the Ubuntu. So I'm like, what is going on? What's the solution? Just go download the deb from Valve directly.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, because of these issues of Steam on Ubuntu, I've always installed the Valve Steam.deb and not use the ones in the Ubuntu repositories, because there's just a lot of issues, and I just avoid it by going to Valve and downloading Steam. And I've had issues with System 76 Pop! OS Steam client in the Pop Shop also with the 32-bit drivers. And even they recommend installing Valves instead. And every time I actually install the Valve Steam Deb, the i386 drivers get installed automatically. So it fixes all the issues.
That is
and then Popey discovered that too in the article.
That's my gem. Like when I need to set up and make sure all the graphic acceleration and everything for Debian install is set up out of the box. Even if I'm not going to run Steam on that box, I install Steam because it pulls everything you need. And there you go. Let's go back to the original packaging format, that Deb thing. Never had a problem with this on Debian. Debian's got its own problems. Like Debian will stop you out of the gate because i386 is not a architecture that's supported out of the box. So if you try to install Steam, it's like, And you're going to be Googling if you don't know to add that automatically.
Yeah.
But there we go. Like, use the original DEM. It's going to take care of you. Stay away from your flat packs. Stay away. I mean, these are solutions desperately in search of a problem. I didn't even know they had a snap. Okay, I think we might have talked about it.
Does include the 32-bit drivers, which is really nice. But, of course, it loads a bit slower, and it's not the best performing, but it does work.
That's not what I look for in an application. Technically launches. I'm like, moral of that story is just grab that deb. Maybe reconsider what Linux distribution you're using. But this is, if you're using, there's nothing wrong with Ubuntu these days, if that's your thing. Yeah. However, maybe you want to upgrade your kernel, because I compile kernels all the time. I was compiling kernels earlier this week. I'm going to do it again because I'm stripping things for parts because I'm working on a project I'm not talking about right now.
Yes.
And I might tell everyone about it if I ever decide to do anything with it. New version of the kernel's up, 6.5. Yeah.
And Ven's probably already compiled it as we speak. So yeah, it was not only Linux's 32nd birthday this last week. We got a new kernel on Sunday to celebrate it. So Linux creator Linus Torvalds released Linux kernel 6.5, and it's got some very important new features, actually extremely important new features. It doesn't seem to be quite as packed as kernel 6.4, but it's still got some very needed additions to the kernel. And one is actually debuggpoint.com states on their article about the new Linux kernel 6.5, for users of high core count Intel Xeon, AMD EPYC, and high-end desktop processor, this release is bringing parallel CPU boot support aimed at significantly reducing kernel boot times. That is really, really huge. We've got, increasing that speed is so important in the Linux ecosystem. And this feature will greatly benefit, large core count servers and, of course, enable faster boot times. So that was an awesome addition. And something else that's really important that I know is important for Ven is there is now complete MIDI 2.0 support. MIDI, for those of you who don't know, is the widely used protocol for music devices. Musical interface, MIDI. It's been a while since I thought about MIDI, actually. I used to use it years ago. Musical instrument digital interface. That's it. So that MIDI 2.0 support is new in Linux kernel 6.5. And it includes some awesome enhancements such as higher resolution, improved articulation, and the universal MIDI packet for streamlined transmission of multiple MIDI messages. So you can run several MIDI devices at the same time. That is cool, and part of the MIDI 2.0 protocol. And the kernel now defaults to using the AMD P-State EPP driver. So us users with AMD Ryzen Zen 2 or newer should expect performance gains and improved power efficiency with Linux kernel 6.5. And also, when I was reading the article, I went through several different articles, and one was on OMG Ubuntu, and they talked about the ext4 file system gaining faster parallel direct I/O overwrites. ButterFS gets lots of performance improvements, and there's an assortment of fixes to the Paragon NTFS 3 driver for Windows drive format compatibility. So that's always a good thing. And for those of you out there that use Microsoft Xbox controllers on Linux, there are new enhancements as more controllers support Rumble in Linux kernel 6.5, and that's always a good thing for more immersion into the games. And for those who are using an Asus ROG Ally, the sound issues are resolved in 6.5. I actually knew someone that was having problems with that, so that was a good thing. And one of my favorites improvements to the new Linux kernel is AMD FreeSync now enabled by default in the kernel. So I use FreeSync enabled monitors for all my AMD GPUs. And that makes life so much easier to just have it automatically enabled. And just going to improve our gaming life as well.
Bunch of new things, bunch of interesting things, and 6.5. 6.6 is something I'm keeping an eye on for a completely different reason. Everybody heard of this company called NVIDIA?
Yeah.
Well,
Team Green.
they're going to be throwing a wrench in NVIDIA's playbook because it's going to get real interesting. It's going to get real interesting running your NVIDIA drivers on the Linux kernel, starting with 6.6. Because NVIDIA has like circumvented the protection put in place back in 2020 to prevent proprietary modules from hooking up with GPL-only symbols. Like, we see what you're doing, NVIDIA. We're going to stop you from doing that. We're just going to have to find a different strategy. So nothing like earth-breaking in 6.5, but still a good release, solid release, and plenty to look at. Now, we've all probably had a Commodore 64 at least. If you haven't, you've watched somebody on YouTube with a C64 and you're like, oh, wow, that thing was, well, quite miserable back in the day. For what it cost, it was all right, but I never got big into the microcomputer craze. You know, I had the Spectre, I had the C64. I read applications, wrote in applications for both of them, and like I never developed that, like, this was the greatest PC ever. I'm like, I can't wait to get an x86 PC. And I finally got one. However, maybe you're sitting around and you're like, man, you know what my C64 needs? Linux.
Absolutely.
You can make that dream a reality. The "but does it run Linux" joke is going to be kind of over with this guy. I mean, it's here.
It does, with some caveats.
Some caviars are definitely thrown in there because Onno Kortman has taken CMO. Now, what is that? That's a minimal RISC-V emulator. Cross-compiled it with LLMV MOS. Okay. An LLMV port to the MOS 6502 processor in order to get Linux up and running on the C64. Now, my first thought was, surely this will not fit in 64K of RAM. Lo and behold, it does not. It requires a 16 meg REU module, which, okay, that exists. Also, there's going to be a small problem here. Not really a problem. Okay, maybe we shouldn't say problem. There's a little bit of a warning. On real hardware, it'll probably take about a week to boot.
Yeah.
Because the 6502 very poorly suited to anything that reminds you of C-style coding. However, you know, in synthetic, it does launch. Like, there it is. Why would you want to do it? You don't need a why, just because you can.
Yeah.
Can you do anything useful with it? No, but come on. It can run Linux. You can just tell people to shut up and like, oh, can it run Linux? Like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as important as running Doom. Yeah, so this is really exciting news. You know, I actually, one of the reasons I'm excited about this is because I have a C64 and a C128 in my collection, and it would run on my C128 as well if it runs here, because I actually have more memory, which is nice, more RAM. And it's really cool if you follow the history of the C64. Back in the 90s, there was a distro called LUnix or Little Unix. It's a Unix-like operating system developed for the C64 and C128. And I'd actually never had seen this running in person, but I've seen videos on it, and that was really interesting. And, you know, it's the closest we've gotten to a Linux Commodore 64 port until now. That's a big deal. And yeah, Vin. So I was in junior high when the C64 was introduced in early 1982. In fact, I remember the day me and my family went to Toys R Us to buy one. And I still have it in my vintage computer collection as well.
I remember my mom brought me home one. She was saying, "Do you want a little toy computer?"
Oh, how old were you?
I don't know. I was
remember
probably
how-
like 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. So later, after it came out, it was sold until the 90s. That was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never got like in my household, like microcomputers were not spoken well of. They were like they were toys, but they were affordable, and a lot of people got their start on them.
Yeah.
So they got that, and if like this is more of like you look at it, you're like, man, that's neat. I respect the work that went into that, just on the principle, like we're gonna make this happen. And there it is. There'll be a link in the show notes, though, so don't worry about having to search high and low and sideways in order to find everything. Head over to LearningSchemecast.com. After the fact, there'll probably be a link in the show description. Go check that out.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I've been looking for a long time is a replacement for what I call co-host boxes, because I have 3 of them that we use on the show. I have the one that Jill's on does double duty. It's the Joe box, actually triple duty. It's the Joe box, Jordan box, and the Trackmania box. So we had to get creative. It's like out of the 3 boxes, one is like obscenely overpowered because it also has to play Trackmania. And the other 2 are just little butter robots. You know, they're one's both of them right now are 3010 Dell business PCs. You know, they are 4-core i7s from a decade ago. Not the most power efficient thing in the world, but they're super cheap. And they're really, you know, they're business machines. They're super reliable.
Yeah, they're really reliable. Yeah.
I want my floor back, is what I want.
Okay.
Because
you want to be able to stick the computers behind the monitors?
I'm not even that ambitious. What I want is to be able to zip tie them to the desk under the table.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, up until now, like even the Raspberry Pi 4, 8 gig, I'm like, I don't even need 8 gigs. I can do 4 gigs. Pretty sure I can do 4 gigs. Not quite there. What do those machines? Now the rectangle box has to say because it's got to run Trackmania. But the other 2 boxes, they got to be able to run WebRTC. They got to be able to handle a video capture card, and they need to be able to handle a fiber card. That's the rough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's one out of left field. You're like, okay, we can do that. Okay, maybe we 10 gig fiber card. Don't know how we're gonna pull that off, Jill.
Yeah. Well, you might be able to, Vin, with this Raspberry Pi alternative called a Zima board. The Zima board is a low-cost single-board server for makers and geeks, states the manufacturer's website. And that it is. The big news here, though, is that the Zima board is an Intel x86 quad-core single-board computer instead of the Raspberry Pi's ARM single-board computer. Very cool. It has a very unique and stylish design with its upper side and consisting entirely of metal cooling fins for passive cooling, which is really cool. And it has something else exciting, a PCIe slot that protrudes on its side. And at the bottom, there is a partially transparent plastic.
Yeah. Back it up. It's a by 4 PCI Express slot on the top. That's all anyone cares about. You're like, oh yeah, okay, yes. Other stuff's there. I'm sure. Let's get back to this PCI Express slot sticking out of the side.
I know. That's the important thing here. So yes, you can install that, NVIDIA or AMD GPU if you would like. And because it is a fully capable computer, it actually has on board the Intel HD. What was it? The 500, I believe. Yeah. HD 500, 200 megahertz base, up to 700 burst. We get them in a couple different models, 2 gig, 4 gig, and 8 gig. And that's going to scale linearly with the 3350 dual core or the 3450 quad core or the Pin 34 quad core again, but with 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, nice. Nice. And what's cool about it also is it has 4 small black Phillips screws on the bottom, which also make the board easy to open.
Nope, I don't want to. I only want Phillips heads. Flathead, like no.
Yeah, no, I want flatheads.
Gotta be flat.
No,
it's dead.
gotta be flat, or star shaped, possibly to be a pain to open up.
Man, I'm looking at it, and the only thing that I'm just like, oh no, is it's got the micro display port thing on it. That's a gnarly little cable, and I say that with somebody with a micro display port plugged into a monitor right now. Oh, look at that on the other end, Jill. That's SATA ports, isn't it?
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Yeah, there's so many good things about this computer. I hope you get one, Vin, so we can talk about it.
Like it's gonna be silly. I think here's somebody. There we go. Okay, now this is gonna be one of the problems with plugging in the old GPU there, because you might have to take the faceplate off.
Oh, okay.
The mounting bracket or whatever you want to call it, in order for it to slide down, because there's like a little bit of oversight. We didn't think about that. I'm like, that's gonna be a problem. But then again, let's be realistic. You don't need that plate anyway, because there's nothing to mount it to, right?
Yeah. Or you could just get one of the little PCIe extenders.
Risers,
yeah.
It does run about 43C. That's 109.4 freedom units. And I was impressed by the power usage of this little guy, because it is, like they said, like completely clocked out. This thing's only using about 10 watts. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. It depends on, I want to see where it starts throttling, if I need to put any type of active cooling on it. And, my first thought is like the Zima. That's an interesting name, but let's just go ahead and get this over with real quick. Pricing.
There's the prices.
We could have named off all these stats, and it's like, all of that's useless if this is $500, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because we've seen these boards and like, they don't even have the price on them. Like, inquire here. I'm like, well, we just know we can't afford it, so let's not. This thing's starting, the Zima board 2016. What's it going to get you? That's going to get you a dual core, 2 gigajoules of RAM, 16 gigs eMMC. You still get the 2 dual gigabit Ethernet, SATA, and everything's on the case. $119. Okay.
Good price.
I'm interested.
And the next level up is the Zima board 432, which is $159 or $160. A quad core, 1.1 to 2.4 gigahertz, 4 gigabytes of dual channel RAM, 32 gigabytes of eMMC storage, 2 SATA 6 gig ports, and so on.
And of course, you got your top end model, which is more the same. It's just got 8 gigs of RAM on it.
Yes.
Now, I think I should get the 4 gig model, but I'm really thinking I want to get the 2 gig version, because I think I can squeeze everything I need into 2 gigs.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that. Do you think how many gigs of memory RAM do you think you're using right now, Joe?
Probably 3.
3.
So
let's find out how much RAM Jill's using right now.
Yeah.
That's
on my little computer, probably 1.5. Let's say
1.5. Okay, everybody, you ready? We're saying 1.5. Let's find out. Dun, dun, dun. 1 point, not 8.
1. Okay,
1.
There we go. That's good for my little Dell Optiplex.
Oh, this is not the Optiplex. This is rectangle.
Oh, okay.
This is a 5600G. So, but yeah, the memory is really the only thing, because you can see like the WebRTC is not heavy at all. Again, this is 5600G, bad example, but I mean, it's still not going to max out, I would hope.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me make sure I don't alter for yours. There we go. It's not going to max out, I would hope, the Celery 3350. Okay. But the only thing I'm curious about, I think it's even the 2 gig. I'd be more impressed with myself if I did it on the 2 gig. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe if you bought 2, the 2 gig one and the 4 gig one, and then
that's not going to save money now, isn't it? That's just that is unchecked hoarding at play right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
If I bought 2, No. We're probably going to get the Zimboard 216 because, I want to find out where thermal throttles because this thing will thermal throttle. It's completely passive cooled. We can put a fan on it. See what we can do to make it scream.
Yeah.
That might be fun. Then again, maybe I'll turn into like the big spender, and even the top end one's not expensive, really, is it?
No.
$199, like cool piece of kit. I was joking with Jill in the pre-show. I was like, you know what? Let's take like the $119 one and plug $1,000 capture card into it.
Yeah.
Because if you go on YouTube, you can already find people like plugging in, like 4090s and stuff to it. I want to see what kind of practical uses we can get up to. Maybe turn it into, I don't know, because it's got those drive setup ports on it. This thing's like built for a NAS of some sort, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely said server based, so it has all the ports for it.
Yeah. And it comes with Linux on it. I couldn't find what
Which
kind
one?
of Linux. Yeah. But it's x86, so I can run anything on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could spend an entire afternoon in a live stream getting Windows 3.11 up on this bad boy.
Yes. We sure can.
And we could crowdsource an issue request with all the problems we've run into. Can you imagine getting a support ticket? Be like trying to get like, hey, what's going on here? I can't get my operating system up and running. Windows 3.11 for workgroups.
Well, you can run lots of things virtually, like Commodore 64 Basic.
Never know, man. Casa OS. You saw it in the article.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes with that on it. We'll find out. Because step number one would be Debian. But stay tuned. I got a stack of hardware videos I got to get done. But we will eventually get to this. And you know what? If you want to help us get to this, you can head over to linuxgamecast.com. Fill our coffers, line it with tens of pennies and maybe a few quarters. If that's your thing, become a Patreon, patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. We got a gang of things, rewards, bonus things that you get for helping us out. Subscribe on Twitch. Speaking of Twitch subscribers, I want to thank Gamatron and Mir for resubscribing.
Yay.
Y'all awesome. You know you are. We got LibrePay, PayPal, bunch of different ways. We got wish list over there for that Amazon thing. Jordan's got one, Jill's got one, Pedro's got one. I got one more for the studio. I always warn you, I will publicly shame you if you get anything for the studio, so I don't want to hear any complaints. We got a merch store and Amazon storefront, humble affiliate. Any way you can help us out, we would appreciate it. And yeah, we convert that into hosting. And one thing you might notice is we don't host with whoever's Sharky's hosting shack, whatever, taking all the data and all that. We do all that stuff here locally to that expense. One thing I did put out, I just put it out for everybody. Something I like to help people out with. Something, a resource I would have found invaluable when I started doing this. Dry tracks for podcast mixing. You want to learn how to podcast. More importantly, you want to learn how to edit a podcast. But you don't have anybody to edit the podcast with. I'm just trying to get started. What do? You head over. Actually, just go to our social media right now. If you go to Twitter, if you go to Mastodon, there's a link to the LGC archive on archive.org, where I have dry, unprocessed multitracks, and it was our show, LWDW from last week, that was posted. Clean, ready to go, so you can practice making a podcast, which is always great. I would have killed to have those 10 years ago. And we're able to do stuff like that thanks to viewers like you. Ting. But yeah, extra big thanks to Gamatron for 22 months. And I don't know how many months Mir has. How many months does Mir have?
Yeah, Mir, I missed how many months you had.
I'm going to go find out. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me go to...
I'd have to go to...
You would have to hack into my Twitch account.
Yeah. Well, I could go see the video from...
46 months.
Oh, 46.
There we go.
Okay, from Saturday, I think it was posted. I can't remember.
Like 2 days ago. Oh, whenever 2 days ago was, I'm not sure. I think it might be Wednesday. Who knows? Yeah, stick around, hang out, get the live uncut version of the show, podcast format, a bunch of other things. We got an extra hour of content we do as a big thank you. It's called the pre super shows and like behind the scenes production meeting type stuff. And come hop in our Discord if you're a Twitch sub or patron. Do it right now. Do it right now.
Yeah.
Come on, do it. Click. Google it. All you got to do is like, how do I link thing? It's like 2 clicks and boom, you can come hang out with this conversation.
Yeah. We'd love to talk to you.
And yeah, that's it. We got to run. We're over time.
Because the bouncy music that I love.
The bouncy music.
Aww. It's really fun. Aww. And Steve Husband said that was funny that he said that the Zima board looks like an old GPU. He's right. Thank you to our executive producers, our advisors, including Arth Aaron in chat, our sea monsters, our death notes, lots of them, and our chairlings. There's so many awesome patrons. We love you all.
All right, beautiful people, we're going to wrap up episode 390. See you again next week, same time. If you're listening after the fact, come catch a live show. I dare you. I won't tell your parents, probably.
Oh, hi, Kai Doobie. Good to see you in chat, too.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Chipsy.
Okay, now I got to hit the stop. Boom. There we go.
I love the music.
Yeah, Chibsy's got one of those different screen names on different services type thing going on.
Yeah, he does.
It's always good when somebody shows up and they're just chatting away. That I happen to know because Chibs get around to the eventually, I should say, eventually get around. I was like, this is Chibsy, by the way. I'm like, oh, okay. You're not just some random person chatting for no reason. Sometimes people forget that. Like, I don't keep track of a screen name. Never assume people like keep track like you do, because you know your own screen names. You're like, I'm this person on this service and this person on this service. I'm Vin on everything. I keep things nice and simple. But even like Jordan's like, the Burning Fool or Frojo, and like that still confuses me to this day when I'm trying to like reply Jordan. I'm like, which one is it?
Yeah.
Pedro's pretty consistent with unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Jill's very consistent with Jill _ Linux Girl. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, I'm not throwing any shade or anything like that. But I'll always, not just here, like I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm this person. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I've just learned it over the years, our patrons, that they're different names when they message me on, Twitter or Mastodon. It's a different name, and I get them together. I know Chibs, Kai Doobie, he's one of the first ones I've learned outside of Chibsy on our Patreon. His name.
I think I'm Linux Gamecast on...
on Twitch?
No, I'm Vinmints on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, on Twitch. Yeah, you're Vinmints.
What am I on Steam? I think I'm just Linux Gamecast on Steam because it made it easier for people to
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Find us from multiplayer. Let me see, who am I? Yeah, I'm just a Linux Gamecast.
Yeah, I kept my yeah. I changed my name to Jill _ Linux Girl.
Oh, what was it before? Newbreaker 9000?
No, Jillix.
Jillix.
Yeah, Jillix is the name I used to use online because I had, was creating my own distro named Jillix. So that's where that came about.
You're just Vin on Steam? Yeah, I think that's, the ID, my ID is Linux Gamecast. I'm Vin on Steam. So, there we go.
Oh, okay.
I had to look it up,
yeah.
Man. Vin Stone. So, who's got, I bet nobody plays as much games. Let's see this embarrassing thing. 12 hours of gaming in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. Trackmania.
So I'm averaging 6 hours, and yeah, that includes all of that after show stuff. So
yeah,
I average 6 hours a week of video game time. So maybe like an hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
Most of that is Trackmania.
Yeah. Most of mine is Trackmania too.
Yeah, so for that a week, so non-Trackmania gaming would be, I'd be about averaging like 4 hours of non-Trackmania gaming, and 2 of that 4 is, yeah, that's going to be like usually after show. I'm just going to say like 1. So I get about an hour of game time in a week. 37 hours, man. I'm jelly. Now, a lot of that's got to do, there's just no games out right now that I'm terribly interested, because, you know, hey, if there's a game out that you're really excited about, you're going to make time for it, right?
Yeah.
Right. And like, there's just nothing out right now that I'm like, I'm going to like push some stuff to the side in order to get to play that. There's just no games like that right now.
Yeah.
I'm sitting around waiting on The Last of Us to go on sale because, I mean, you know, if you paid full price for it, Flying Spaghetti Monster, bless you, but I'm still waiting for that last patch, and I'm waiting for a sale before I'm going to touch that. 14 hours? All right.
Oh, Justin, I guess, yeah, it's been a while for you, huh? I mostly run the beta, but I still have, I think I have stable on this machine too. But yeah, it changed a while ago.
I bounce back and forth. Now that they got the UI, they got the GPU acceleration working with NVIDIA reliably.
Yeah, it works now. I was using it on my Portal machine. It works nicely on my NVIDIA card on there.
Man, oh man. Does anybody know of any like fun games? Anybody looking forward to any games? I know everybody's been like Baldur's Gate 3 and like Starfield. I assure you, I'm the only person on the internet that does not care about Starfield. I don't have anything against it. I'm just like,
I'm not interested either.
I might be after I watch some people play it, but like nothing in the promotional material sold me on it. You know, Skyrim I was interested in. After I bought Skyrim for no other reason than just to make a guide on how to install Skyrim on Linux, and then ended up playing it. But even at Skyrim, like I think I only got like 60 hours, which is like amateur rookie numbers. I understand that, but yeah, I've never been into like that Fallout, Elder Scrolls type thing. I don't know, but yeah, Starfield doesn't. For like a little bit in one of the trailers, it looked like there was some like straight up first person combat, like shooting combat. No, like, I don't know. It looks like I need something to do simulator. I'm not a big fan of those. You been doing house repairs after a flood? That's never fun. Depends on what floods. Like downstairs flood, much better than upstairs flood.
Oh, poor Gamatron. Plumbing achievement has been unlocked, so I'm good. Oh, good. Oh, boy.
And one thing I do not enjoy is sweating pipes. What's upcoming to get released? Like strain. One thing I'm curious about, we talked about it, the Half-Life 2 RTX.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to, like, to the best of my card's ability to putter around with that. And, like,
I know, it'll probably be just like the Portal one, because it's the same engine. Oh, God.
Warhammer 40k PvE.
Although they are doing a lot more work on...
What's a different team, too? So.
Yeah, it is.
You
That's
never know.
True.
I always wait and see on that. And, you know, like Portal, it's probably, you know, if you cut enough gimmicks on, you could get the bit. I mean, it was Portal at the end of the day. Like, Portal was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, I've been through Portal 2 co-op, but like once I go through a puzzle once, I'm good. You know, then it's like, hey, I remember how to beat this. I'm done. It doesn't have the, like, you know, what are we doing? How do we figure this out? Which that's the part of Portal that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Portal's not a game that ever, there has to be a new mechanic, a new gimmick to get me to get back through it. Half-Life 2, on the other hand, it would just be to go back and see, because they did such a massive overhaul, like the environmental textures and models and stuff. Like, I'd just be doing that to go sightseeing. And maybe it works with Synergy. Maybe we can do some multiplayer. co-op and go through it again. The Jackbox games, those are always fun. The last two Jackboxes, they haven't been bad, but there's not been any like new
standout ones, yeah.
titles from Jackbox lately. I couldn't name like one particular game. Like, we gotta play that again. I still gotta finish Black Mesa. I haven't forgot about that. I said I was going to beat that on stream.
Yeah, I remember that. You were how far along were you then? Like over halfway?
Somewhere probably around halfway. I'm guessing somewhere probably around halfway because I've never played through the original Half-Life. Half-Life 2 Black Mesa is my first playthrough, and I'm stuck in such a note box where I know exactly where I'm at. 9 months later, I know exactly where that save is.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back to it. It's going to be live, die, repeat until I get through it because I think I have like 2 bullets and an army of bad guys. Yeah, man. Well, we've been playing Black Mesa with Proton like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I have what I'm communicating is I have multiple other reasons I'm not playing Black Mesa right now. That's not one of them. One of the issues with Black Mesa with a Linux version is it does not like OBS.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons I've always run it with Proton, top everything else. Let me see. What's the let's see what the ordering process is for one of these Zima boards. All right.
Yay.
Give me. What 232 quantity. I think I'm just going to need one there, Brett. Oh, there's a starter bundle. What is this? Single board server for free? Yeah, I want that. I don't want the cables. How much is a mini DisplayPort to HDMI female cable going to run? They want $9 for one.
That seems reasonable.
It does, but I always check at Amazon because every Monoprice be like, we got one for $1. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
I know. That's the.
Yeah. Let's do a search for.
Order now.
Oh, okay. It was like 7, 8, 9. I get a little dongle. What is that? HDMI adapter 4K mini. That's like $5. Yeah. Do I? Oh, okay. Now we got to start thinking. Okay, so you don't want you want one with a dongle on it because if you get one that's just one solid piece, it's going to cover up one of your USB 3 ports. Okay. Oh.
Get $10 off your first order for signing up. That's nice.
119 plus. Hang on. Let me just add this to the cart. View cart. $118. PayPal. Shipping calculated at checkout. Hey, come on, man. North America. 96 countries. Give me some prices, man. One thing I hate is going through like an ordering process and you get to the shipping. It's like, shipping's going to be $60.
Yeah. That's...
Which DisplayPort devices support, I don't know, ask Google. So if I click checkout, let me, also want to check and see if there's already one on Amazon, because I'll pay like $20 extra for one if I can just get it tomorrow. Ooh, bit of a markup on old Amazon there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, that's an 832. Which one's the 832 again?
That's the higher one with the 8 gigs.
I can get to the... Yeah, it is. And what was the price on that?
$199.
$199. So $229 is too much. Oh, somebody's already had the idea with the network card. I got one of those in the drawer. So mine's a real Intel. That's a knockoff, whatever that is. That's not an Intel card. It looks like somebody had...
Look at all these kits. Those are great.
What is the low... Let me just open the page back up and the old show notes here instead of doing all this guesswork. Let's go back to notebook check. And we're going to find 216. Yeah, let me see if they got like a different... Look at the 432, 832. I guess everybody's going to have the 216. And it's Amazon search. Amazon search is useless these days. It's all from... Because you can buy your way to the top results, and that's always...
Yeah. I was looking at, they have an older version from several years ago that's $119, and I'm looking at the differences in the specs. It's very similar. In that case, they just had one model with 3 different memory. 2 gig, 4 gig, and 8. Yeah.
What type of CPU was on it?
It is the N3350 processor, which is like a Celeron. That was N3350 up to N3450.
Yeah, that's what these have on them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I think
Let's post a link to the page you're on right now. Put it in live chat.
Okay.
Let me take a look.
We'll look. Do. I think it said it's unavailable right now or sold out, but you might be able to find it.
That's on their website, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 232.
Wait a minute. What did that link? Oh, it linked. They don't have the old one anymore, so it linked to the new one. Like what? Oh, so I was looking at the new one.
Well, hit backspace. Where were you finding a link to the old one?
When we were going, I was going through the list of view all. Zima board. Oh, 2021. Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. I put the wrong link in. Here it is. Okay. Let's see what this one. This is the one I wanted to look at. I thought I was looking at that one. I was looking at the new one.
Special edition version of it.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Intel Celeron 3550. 8 gig, 32 gigs eMMC. Trying to see what's different because this one's very similar too.
That could have been like leftover. These were probably crowdfunded.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Those could have been like leftover backer ones. It was $199. No. Then again, they could have just charged, like early adopter or whatever. Well, this one's green, you guys. It's more collectible.
Yeah.
And I say that as I mean that, but some people are like, yes, it is. That's the one I need. It's sold out, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
119. All right. I will begin the process of convincing myself we need to order one of these to play around with. And we'll see. We'll see. AA batteries. Yeah, it looks like something, right? They said it was inspired by a character from the HBO TV episode Love, Death, and Robots. So I don't know.
Yeah, one of those.
I never watched that
I did, and I remember that name, but I can't recall the character. Can't recall what episode, because I've seen all the episodes, and it's been too long ago, so I don't remember.
We will see. Cool, everybody. All right, I gotta go convert this into a audio video production for the internet, so they can go watch it.
Yay!
And I got a couple things I gotta take care of this evening. Does anybody have any fun plans for this week?
I'm trying to think of what I'm doing this weekend. Am I doing? No, Steve and I are we're going to stay at the house and take care of some chores. Nothing too exciting.
0 to 750 gigabyte hard drive.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, that's my... Me too, Justin. Work, but...
I'm more curious as why are you zeroing out hard drive? Are you giving it away?
Are you low-level formatting it, Alan?
That was given to you?
Oh, okay.
You don't want to get cooties? I'm guessing it's a spinning drive?
Oh, Mir gave it to him. So he's protecting himself. No. Making sure it works good.
I am... You guys gotta come check this out. Here's our voice for studio, by the way. Look how cheap these are getting. 4 terabyte.
4 terabyte. Wow.
870 Evo.
Nice.
Yeah, this is TLC, not QLC. $200. And you can get 2 terabyte drive. I don't even need this. I just want another one.
Yeah.
$80.
I can't believe they're only $80 now.
$80.
That's awesome.
Like 2
for
terabytes.
Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was like a sketchy. All right, this is why I get everybody here.
Yeah, absolutely, Arthur, and it's so nice too. Because oh my gosh, I remember my first 512. I think I've spent like $250 on it. Oh my god.
My first SSD was 64 gigs.
Yeah, mine was 64 too.
$140, people.
Nice.
For a 4 terabyte SSD. We get it. Check out the, I've never had anything from Team Group. I don't think I'm gonna.
They're hit and miss. You can get good stuff and bad stuff. You know, I mean, their RAM has it's really improved. They were known initially many years ago in the 90s. They made a lot of generic RAM that people were using in their Dell machines and HP machines.
Really, all we need to know right here. Showed up dead on arrival.
So, but it's hit and miss. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, doesn't.
Not what I'm looking for in reliable storage.
Yeah. That's
after 1 year and 3 months.
But I haven't tested their storage, only their RAM over the many years.
Well, RAM is like Mother Glass. There's 2 companies making the modules. Everybody else just repackages them and they get lower grades of them. Mm-hmm. I don't see. Here's the problem though. With this 140 is a great deal, right? $140 for 4 terabytes. 500. It reads and writes 500 megs, so it's an SSD. It's not an NVMe, but big deal, whatever. The problem with this is, even at that price, you would still need a good one to back up to. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you lose 4 terabytes of data, you got a problem, right? Like that's a collection of something or a lot of applications. You're going to need something to back up 4 terabytes to. And you probably wouldn't want to use one of these as a backup drive. $1 terabyte for like, there's still the 1 terabyte and what did I buy? Like 200 or 500? I think I got a 256 or like 500 gig for the test bench box. And it was like $20. It's laughably cheap these days, right?
I know. Yeah.
It's good times.
Dime a dozen now, finally. Yeah. It's taken a while, but we got there.
Still a little bit pricey, compared to like spinning drives, but spinning drives keep me up at night. I don't have anything on spinning drives anymore. Like that is such a Rube Goldberg mechanism of like, I'm just surprised that works at all at this point. So much to go wrong in a spinning drive is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's good times to be in if you need to store a lot of stuff. I just need stuff to write to because even doing these shows, and I don't have our quality maxed out, we're about 130 gigabytes an hour for the video.
That's
substantial when you start thinking about, you got, and if I just had one dedicated drive for one show, that wouldn't be a problem. Problem is like, got a couple of shows I need.
Exactly.
860 TiVo for your laptop? Dope. It's awesome. You got a NAS. You know what? I still got spinning drives in my NAS, but my NAS has been powered off for over a year now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to light it back up. I have an old one
too. Yeah.
I just, I cut Google that check these days. Google's like, you want more storage than you'll ever use? Like, how much, Google? Like, a couple of bucks. I'm like, okay, here you go. And I just don't have to worry about it. I probably want to get a bigger... See, I don't know. Do I want to get a bigger game drive? I have a 250 gig SSD for my game drive. I think that works for me because it keeps me from having a bunch of games that I never play downloaded. Then again, it's also a problem if you want to install like one AAA modern game. You pretty much got to get rid of everything else.
Yeah,
on the
I know. Yeah, that's a problem. That's why I just put in I've got a terabyte dedicated game drive in this computer just for that. But even
I think a
even
terabyte's
then,
a good size for.
Yeah. It works. That's been kind of my default now. The last few builds I've done, I just buy terabyte drives. Stick them in.
I wish I had more than three NVMe slots on this motherboard.
I know. You could use 6 or 10.
Well, I have it came with one of those cards.
Oh, the adapter.
Where I can put like 4 more into a by 16 slot. But guess what? All those slots are full, kids.
They're full.
That's why I'm getting that Epic board. I got more of those. But like I'm fine with SATA drives. They just have to be able to, that's why I stick with Samsung. They got to be able to write 500 sustained write. For at least an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And people, it's rare. Like you got to get a non-tech. A lot of the times they'll do the prolonged sustained write because then you're starting to deal with like when that DRAM cache fills up. And how good the software on the SoC, like the little braid in there, is like good at like swapping things off and how much it's going to drop. Yeah. And some of them tank, man. Some of them drop down to like they just start choking like bad. They get down to like 100 megabytes. The Samsung SSDs, the ones I've had, even after about an hour, they're still able to hit like 450, 460. So. Not had a problem with them.
Yeah, I've had on things that are really important. I use Samsung or Sabrant, the Rocket series. They're excellent too. I've had really good luck with doing video stuff on there. In fact, that was the first company that put out the Gen 4 NVMe's when those came out. Sabrant was like the first of that series, and then the Samsungs came out.
Yeah, I'll take they're relatively a newcomer, but
yeah,
but I say relatively, they've been out for several years.
Yeah, it's been a 20.
They also have like classification. Like they got good drives that are, they kind of got into because they had some NVMe's that were like reasonable. They had some consumer stuff, and their good drives are expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they're not any more cost effective than Samsung, and like I'll always take the Samsung over that, just because Samsung's a known quantity.
Yeah.
I don't love Samsung by any stretch of the imagination. It's just
I know. That's my default, but Sabrant was the first to have the support for the 4 version, so that was why I bought the Sabrant Rocket first, and then my next one was a Samsung.
Yeah, I don't
this
waste
machine.
like the by 3 by 4. If it make it feel better, me personally, you're not gonna like noticeable difference between by 3 and by 4 drives. What I'm telling everybody at home, buy by 3 drives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was doing some testing with uncompressed because I've done a lot of uncompressed video work.
That's what I use.
And yeah,
you come nowhere near saturating NVMe. You can do.
Oh yeah,
DNX
but I just wanted it because my board supported it, so I went ahead and put it in.
Okay.
When I upgraded this machine.
To talk to the audience is with DNX 440 or 220, even if you're running at like 50 megabytes a second. Now, if you get to like some DNX HD HQ, like SQ is not going to be a problem. If you get into HQ, you can push upwards of, well, depending on like what you're trying to feed into it, because it's going to be variable bit rate. You can get up to like requirements of over a gigabyte a second.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Which then again, it comes down to the caching system on the drive. That's the most important thing when you're doing a video capture.
That's exactly why many years ago, why I had to use SCSI drives for everything as an animator. I needed that consistent bit rate for recording and rendering and all that stuff. Not variable. IDEs were variable bit rate. That was always an issue.
What do you mean variable bit rate?
The read writes aren't constant.
Consistent?
Consistent with a big file.
Their
big
throughput?
Files. Yeah.
So prolonged. Yeah, that's going to be dependent on a couple of things. Anyway, everybody, I got to get running. Have a great rest of your week.
We don't see you. SCSI card.
I'm going to be back in Tuesday, but Thursday, tomorrow. Jordan's going to be back probably with some Baldur's Gate. I'll be back Friday with Trackmania. We're going to be doing rounds.
Yay!
And that'll be a thing. And of course, Saturday, back for Linux Gamecast Weekly. We will see you then. If not, back here next Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Bye, all.